safety being the fastest quarterback you've never seen. I'll be right back. There's no quicker way to get into DFS. Play Super Draft today and see for yourself.
We're behind. They're all fired up. What we got to do? First place, our defense has got to go out there and take the ball. And when we get the ball, we got to have 11 people that's going to do their job and try to score every time you get the football. If we do that, we'll be all right. That will be all right.
Good morning, CTS Sports Room, to another edition of Special Teams Podcast. Today we finna have a SEC party. Ain't nothing but a SEC party. But yeah, I got two guests coming on today. I got Mr. Dugas, LSU content creator, and Heart of the South, a Georgia fan, big time Georgia. I've been knowing them all my life, y'all. So we trying to put on y'all a good show today. Look like my power went out, but that's okay. But like a man, Heart of the South, Mr. Dugas. Before we get started, please hit the like button. It helps all content creators around here. It helps all content creators to get it through the YouTube algorithm and everything. So please hit the like button, share, and subscribe. But I'm about to bring in my guest today.
What's going on?
What's going on? How y'all doing, man? How y'all feeling about the game today, man? What's going on?
I'm looking forward to it, man. The best conference championship games in the country.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So before we do it,
we expecting to be down today, baby.
Hey, so I'm gonna talk because my first segment is gonna be I'm gonna try to have two guests come in. I'm gonna have an unbiased opinion. So it's gonna be two people from two different fan bases coming in, giving their unbiased opinion before we get into the question. But as they log in, what y'all think about that game last night, man?
Wow, USC blew it, man. I mean, I expected them to win. I expected them to win comfortably. I expected Caleb Williams to walk away with the Heisman. And for them to go down the way they did, it just speaks to the type of year we had in college football this year, where every time we think we got everything figured out, we realize we don't, but that's big. It definitely opens the door for somebody, like Ohio State, to try to slide into the top four. And it really makes me more frustrated as an LSU fan because you beat A&M and that happened last night. Now, definitely you win. You ain't got to worry about nothing else. But, that's a story for another day. But, yeah, it was college football at its best last night with all the upsets and not knowing what's going to happen.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. What about you, Heart of the South? You hear me? Heart of the South, what's your thoughts on the game?
Honestly, I feel like we just saw another example. 4 points. and he does not have a lick of defense on the field. That's what he's been his team since. Think of every one of his Oklahoma years is I'm going to put out these quarterbacks that's going to score you 60 points, but we're going to give up 61 points. When they played, Texas when he was there, Texas was down. Texas couldn't score on nobody. I think Texas put up 50 points that game against Oklahoma and beat them. USC's been like this all year long. They have been great on offense.
Yep.
They're great to see on TV. It's for the typical fan. I want to see 1,000 points, but I don't want to see no defense, so that's boring. And USC was just they're Oklahoma 2.0. That's basically what it is. So I think we've seen what they have been all season. Flash and no defense.
And I was saying the same thing last night. His big mistake, he brought his defensive coordinator over from Oklahoma. And Oklahoma had tackling issues last year. And last night we seen tackling issues again. But yeah. Them boys came up and they showed up last night, man. They put up last night, and I was very surprised. But y'all, we finna get this segment going, the unbiased opinion. I got my Kangaroo Black. He's also a YouTuber, content creator. He like a brother, man. He been looking out for me, put me on his shows or whatever. But we about to bring him in and get his thoughts on the game tonight, on the LSU and Georgia game.
Yes, sir.
What's going on?
What's going on, brother?
What's up, fellas?
How's it going?
Man.
What's up, Mr. Dude guys, man?
How's it going, man?
What's up,
Checking
man?
you
I'm
out,
watching
man.
stuff.
Appreciate it. Likewise.
It's pretty good, man. You got the when you talk about Alabama, you got to change your intro, man.
It's all love, though. It's all love, man.
Yeah, man. 13, what's up?
Heart of the South.
Hey, you know how it is. Go,
Mr. Georgia fan.
Baby. Go Dogs.
Man.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, I got to give y'all props, man.
Going for that repeat.
So I want to bring you in for the unbiased opinion, man. So what's your thoughts on today's game, Georgia versus LSU?
Man, you already know my thoughts, man.
Uh-oh.
I think of course I think Georgia gonna win.
I'm an Alabama fan, so LSU is unbiased.
You know, not JT Daniels, but Jaden Daniels, he ain't 100%. So that might take away some of that run game for LSU. So, but I got Georgia winning. I got Georgia winning big, man.
Yeah.
That's my opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, earlier in the year, we called it though. We said I seen Georgia going undefeated.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, I called it, but I really didn't believe it at the time because the first few games that defense didn't look as good as it looked now.
Yeah.
Right.
But throughout the season, they done improved like every game, man.
Yeah. So I got another dude coming in, losing weight while watching sports. He's a Mississippi State content creator. He's a YouTuber. He put out some good videos, man. Y'all need to go check him out. But I'm about to bring him in for his unbiased opinion.
Good morning. You call me drinking my coffee.
How you doing?
What's going on?
How you doing, man?
You hear me good? Last time I was on your show, I didn't have my microphone right. Can you hear me good today?
Oh, I hear you perfect, man. I hear you perfect.
Yeah.
Sir,
so I just want to bring you on. I'm sorry it was too short of a notice, but what's your thoughts on today's game, man?
Well, first of all, I think Alabama should be in the playoff. I know that's not what you call it. There's no way in the world you can put Ohio State in over Alabama. Georgia don't need this game. I think LSU's been getting ready for them 2 weeks. They obviously didn't show up at A&M. I think it's going to be closer. I think Georgia's going to win, but I could see LSU staying with them on defense for a little while. So I kind of think maybe Georgia 31-17, but I could see it 24-17 late and, Georgia pull away right at it. I just think Georgia really don't need the game.
Yeah, they don't. They don't.
And see what I was saying about that too. That's why I think LSU got a different type of motivation because versus them coming into this game with a must win to get in the playoff, the loss last week might have kind of ease that pressure, and they can come in and play more freely and probably challenge Georgia for for a little while, I think.
Yeah, I do. I got a message. You said you couldn't hear me, so you can hear me.
No, I can hear you. Now,
Okay,
I was sending a message to the other guys in the waiting room.
Oh, okay, all right. Yeah, no. I think SU on defense. I think if Georgia comes out and not really ready for the game, and why would Georgia be? Honestly, I mean, I could see LSU stopping him. Now, is LSU's quarterback playing? I heard through the week he might be injured.
I heard
he's banged up, but he'll be out there.
Okay.
No, they say he's playing.
I mean, he killed
Mississippi. He limited, but he's playing.
Mississippi State played LSU good, but then he would run for 30 yards. I mean, so that's the danger that he has. Georgia, you probably won't be able to do that on Georgia.
Hey, I appreciate everybody in the chat tuning in. Thank y'all so much. But hey, that's all I wanted to bring y'all in for. I got more people in the waiting room. Thank y'all for coming in, tuning in. Hey, y'all make sure y'all go check out Kangaroo Black on YouTube. Subscribe to his channel and losing weight while watching sports. He puts out good content. He's growing. I've been watching his man. It's growing real fast. So I'll go subscribe to that and watch his videos. He's also a New Orleans Saints fan, so he has New Orleans Saints content for y'all too. So hey, I want to thank y'all very much for coming in, giving me y'all unbiased opinion about the game today. But appreciate y'all, and I'll be getting right back with y'all.
I got one last question for you. If TCU loses, they're gonna put Alabama to 4. They're gonna make you play Georgia.
Can
you imagine?
We'll beat them right there. Beat them. And the right Kangaroo Black. We'll beat them. We get in the playoffs. It's over for everybody.
Look. It's gonna be Ohio. Ohio State 3.
Georgia don't want my Alabama Crimson Tide in the daggone playoff. We the only team that give Georgia some damn competition. The only one. You don't want to see my Alabama Crimson Tide. I don't care who the daggone offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator. As long as we got the great one, Nick Saban and Bryce Young, we got a chance in every game, including with them damn Georgia
send you a clip.
I don't care.
Do you want me to send you the last clip of Bryce?
Hey, you can send me one game. I can send you 7 games. Come on with it. Come on with it.
We ain't college for the last. The only thing we care about is what have you done for me lately? What have you done for me lately?
What you mean? What you mean? Don't you know we beat each other in the same season? Do you not know that?
What?
Have you forgot that we beat each other in the same season?
Greatest offense of all time.
But anyway,
LSU just had the greatest offense of all time. They had one bad season and fired their coach because guess what? What done for me lately? Nobody cared about Alabama beating Georgia 3 years ago. Did you beat us last time?
We just beat you. Hold on. We just beat you last year, just like you beat us. Did you forget?
Who won?
Did you forget how we blew y'all out in the SEC championship game?
Who won the last time we played?
I understand that somebody got to win the last time. Every time somebody got to win,
and it was this team right here.
Well, I tell you what,
it was this team.
I tell you what, if you see us this year, hey, I got one here. I got an A. Let me see. Can you see it? I got an A. Hey, I got an A. Well, anyway,
Georgia, our alphabet start at B.
Yeah, they do start at B, so that means we first. Hey, but let me say something, man. Hey, I want to say something, man. I want to take my hat off to daggone Brian Kelly for what he did at LSU this year. I didn't think it was going to happen this year. I didn't think it was going to happen next year. I didn't believe he could especially beat Alabama in his first year, and I definitely think he'll win the SEC this year. Same thing, sadly to say, to go for Kirby Smart. I didn't think he would do what he than did at Georgia either.
Yeah.
And I definitely didn't think he'll be back in the damn playoff this year. I didn't think that. I believe they're going to go back to back. Trust me, the whole offseason, I definitely didn't think that shit at all. Yeah. But I tell you what, if my Alabama Crimson Tide just happen to get in there, we're going to spoil everything for you.
No.
Oh, man.
Hey, this just confidence, that's all.
Saying Bryce Young. You're going to be saying Bryce again.
Hey, I tell you what, we get Bill O'Brien up out of there, we might be all right. Yeah, that's the problem. We might be all right. So, but yeah.
Man, I appreciate y'all for coming on, man. I got some guests waiting in the waiting room, man. I got a Georgia fan, LSU fan, but like I said, losing weight while watching sports. Go subscribe to his channel, like all his videos. Please do it right now. And Kangaroo Black, y'all already know him. Subscribe to his channel.
All right, my guy.
Brother.
All right. Hey, the Georgia fan, he got a channel?
Nah.
What's his name?
No, sir.
Go Dog. But I can get in touch with him anytime. I can get in touch with him anytime, man.
Okay. Mr. Duke, I'm already subscribed to you. I've been subscribed to you for about 2 years now.
Appreciate you. Likewise,
oh, no
man.
problem. All right, now. Well, y'all take it easy, man.
All right.
All
right. So right now, before I get to my questions, I'm trying to bring my guests in because questions are still gonna run over. So right now, I got my man James, he an LSU fan, and my guy John, he a Georgia fan. So I'm about to bring them on right now. Oh, here we go.
All right.
Hey, how's it going?
What's going on, fellas? How y'all doing?
How y'all doing? Go down, baby.
All day, every day.
So I'm bringing y'all in. So overall, James, I'm gonna ask you this first. What's your thoughts on the season to this point?
Considering this is Brian Kelly's first year coming in, this wasn't his recruiting class that he brought with him. Of course, but LSU has exceeded the expectations that I think the fan base had set for him. Highlight: Brian Kelly came in and beat Bama his first year. Yep. How many coaches have done that in the past? Coach O didn't do it, and Les Miles didn't do it. So he did that. The SEC championship. Unfortunately, we ain't going to get a national championship, but overall, an impressive season.
Where you going? You got your head on right.
Yeah.
You ain't going to get an SEC championship. You ain't going to get. You already know. I feel you.
You got to stop
that great mindset. No, I feel you. As long as you put it out there, and you are at the end of the day, the game ain't even started, but you already know.
He know that in his heart he defeated.
You don't.
In his heart he defeated.
You don't come to think you finna win nothing.
Y'all got to deal with.
I don't think Nick
Perkins.
I don't think Nick accomplished his first year in LSU.
Nah, it's been a great year. Especially because I went to that Florida State game, and the feeling I felt walking out of that Superdome, I was looking at the schedule. I'm like, man, hopefully we could get 8 wins. I was thinking, but 7 felt more realistic. And for us to go from that point to be in this game playing on this day, it is. Though we still got the disappointment of last week, knowing what could have been. I felt like if we would have won last week and lost today, most people would definitely be okay with that. But when you look at everything for what it is, it's been a really, really overachieving type year, especially when you got a really good recruiting class coming in next year, and the players that's returning and having that year under their belt in the system. It's a lot to look forward to, and I feel like I believe we gonna play well today. Now, will that result in a win? We'll see, but I think we'll play well today.
Yeah, like I said, I think last week y'all lost, It don't say nothing about y'all, but I feel like it relieves a little pressure to have a must win today just to try to get an SEC championship. And I believe I can play more. They'll play more freely today. How long it's gonna last, I don't know, but I believe it's gonna be more of a game than we think it is. What's your thoughts, John?
Yeah.
It won't last more than that first quarter, especially when your quarterback rushing yard person as well. I mean, come on now. That quarterback gonna get drilled. Oh, Daniels, Jaden Daniels, he's gonna have to stay in that. He's gonna have to stay in that pocket. Otherwise, y'all ain't your quarterback gonna be your leading rushing person as well.
What you got to say harder this time?
No, and I'm on the lines where I can't see a situation where LSU can make it a challenging game or can come up with the upset because of the fact of what was said previously, and that's Georgia is going to come into this game with the mindset of we're making the playoffs no matter what. Like we're good. You know, do we look at things on the line of like trying to get people game time? Do we try to explore more play? Like if you've ever played college sports or followed college, we've seen these scenarios where once a team knows that there is nothing to worry about, they kind of go in that game with this mindset of, it doesn't really matter if we win or lose. So if Georgia goes in the game in the first quarter, if you see them playing and you're like, what are they doing? It's going to be a long day for Georgia. But if they come out there in that first quarter and they're trying to make a statement as to why we're the number one team in the nation, as to LSU should not be in this field with us, it's gonna be bad. It's gonna be nasty. But they got to come out there as the Georgia Bulls. They cannot come out there and let LSU like, yeah, we're gonna win this game, because at the end of the day, LSU is LSU. They still the same NFL style talent on that team. I don't care what they record say, they got NFL level talent on team, and they're gonna come out the first quarter. They're gonna be throwing haymakers. If we don't come out there serious, it's gonna be a long day. But at the end of the day, I think my dog is we're gonna.
And I'm gonna say this.
We're gonna kill him.
and I'm gonna say this for what you just said, that I feel like Kirby are gonna be he gonna be really motivated to win an SEC championship, because SEC. That's the big thing. But for bragging rights, you want that SEC championship, and I feel like he want the SEC. So they're gonna come out and do the thing.
And I'll say this too about with Kirby. Kirby never beat LSU yet.
Yeah, he has not.
Yeah,
he hasn't beat LSU yet. Yeah, he hasn't beat LSU.
He was at Bama as a defensive coordinator.
Yeah, he because they came in was it 2017. Georgia came in at number 2 to Tiger Stadium, and LSU beat them pretty good. And then of course the following year with the the Burrow year in the SEC championship, it kind of got out of hand. And that's the 2 times we've played while Kirby's been the head coach. Now Georgia had success against us. You know, we go back and forth with Mark Richt, but Kirby is 0-2 against LSU.
And I think it's actually worse. When you look at his time as a defensive coordinator at Alabama, I think when Kirby's at Alabama as a defense coordinator, I think those are the 2 times they lost to LSU too. So he has struggled traditionally against LSU. Yeah.
Well, today's a new day.
What James? What's your score? James, what's your score prediction for today?
Depends. Are we gonna get the LSU team that played Texas A&M last week, or are we gonna get the LSU Miss in Alabama? You know, if we get that team, 28-24 LSU. You know, this is, even though they're getting a bowl game, this is the biggest stage that they're going to be on for the rest of the season, and they're going to shock Georgia fans. May not happen until the second half, because we're a second half team. We don't let happen what happened play Tennessee. We're going to hang around with Georgia, and we're going to punch them.
I'm glad you brought Tennessee because that's the dogs that's coming to the St. Tennessee game, and we swallowed them whole. Put that up.
Yeah.
Hey, that was
It's
a
gonna be
different
bad.
LSU. Georgia.
Hey, I appreciate y'all for coming in. I got some more guests in the waiting room. I'm gonna be in contact. I'm gonna be looking to do more stuff with both of you guys. Appreciate y'all for giving me y'all a little time out this Saturday, talk about the game or whatever. Hey, Bulldogs and Tigers.
Oh, all day. Savage.
Oh, Tigers.
All about
Yeah.
Go dog.
We'll see at
All
the
right,
end of
James.
the day.
All right, y'all have a good one.
All right, James. All right, John. All right, man. Let me get them out of here. So I got one more unbiased opinion. I see y'all in the waiting room too, so I'm gonna bring y'all on. I got one more unbiased opinion coming. He Auburn fan, my man Alvin. Alvin.
Oh, Auburn fan. I don't know if that's unbiased.
Hey,
Nah,
don't make it back.
nah. So what's going on, man? Appreciate you for coming in, man. So I just wanted to get you on for a little bit game.
Well, I think it's going to be a close ball game today. I don't think it's going to be unless Georgia can't contain that doggone offense. But the offense to me, not all that strong this year to me. They okay. Right. I'll probably give them a B. But Georgia, they pretty good on both sides of the ball. So, out of day.
Yeah. Okay. You got a score prediction for today?
Score. I say Georgia 38, LSU. That'll be my prediction for today.
Okay. Well, I just need you for a little bit of time, man. I appreciate you for coming in, giving me a little time. I just need you for that. And like I told you last week, I'm gonna be in contact with you because we're gonna do stuff together, or whatever. We're gonna try to build something. So appreciate you for coming in.
All right, man. I'm still War Eagle. Y'all still believe that? Ain't gonna back out.
Oh, Hugh Freeze, huh? Okay.
Hey.
Yes. Oh.
Yeah.
I don't think that was a good pickup.
All right,
okay. All right. Y'all be easy.
All right.
All right, man. So right now, I'm about to break in. I got two more guys. Then we're gonna get to the questions and stuff. I'm sorry. These two, they know Georgia football. They know LSU football. They know it. So I'm about to bring them in right now. Oh, here we go.
Good morning, guys.
Going on?
Good morning.
Good morning. How you doing?
I'm Go Dogs. I'm doing well.
Mr. Barford. This is Georgia guy, and I'm about to in right now. He's an LSU guy. He knows LSU football.
Going on? What's going on?
Mr. Fox.
Oh,
hey, how's everybody?
I thought you brought in Coach O.
How you doing?
I'm all right. Kickoff. We'll see how we're doing.
Yes, sir. So, Mr. Bar, coming into this after a national championship win, what was your thoughts on this overall season?
Well, I don't think anybody expected Georgia to come back and repeat a 12-0 regular season like they did. But I thought different. They had stockpile defense. Kirby's a defensive-minded guy. He went out there stacking those 5- and 4-star defensive guys. He builds his team around a defense. He brought in a guy named Todd Monken to run that offense. And I think that's been the difference this year. The offense has been, was expected to be better this year, but the defense showed they were even better than what they were expected. They've outperformed everybody's expectation, and I don't think any Georgia fan could be unhappy what they've seen so far this year, other than a few slow starts. And that's somebody said that's the difference between a good team and a really great team. A really great team always finds a way to win the game. And even when they were down in that Missouri game, Georgia never stopped fighting. They continued to fight and wound up winning that game. And, a little sluggish last week against Georgia Tech in the first half, but they tightened, as Kirby always does, halftime. He's going to make some adjustments with the defense. And you're not going to score a lot after halftime on Georgia. He's going to see what you do in that first half. He's going to make adjustments with the defense. And I think it's going to be a good game. I don't think it's going to be a blowout by any means. It's going to be a good game. Everybody's questioning what is LSU's, what does this game mean to them, being they don't have a shot at, maybe playing for the national title. Well, the SEC championship is special to anybody playing in it. It doesn't matter who it is. Everybody wants to win the SEC. So I think both teams are come out fight hard, but in the end, I do believe Georgia will prevail. It's just a little more talent there than LSU has. A couple of years from now, I'm pretty sure LSU will be up there competing like Georgia is right now.
Yeah. So, as far as LSU coming into the season, first year Brian Kelly, coming off a season that y'all had last year, what were your thoughts coming into the season with the quarterback Jaden Daniels? What's your thoughts on the season?
Well, after the last 2 seasons, actually, I think most was a 6-6 season. That would be a success. You had several players that transfer portal that were starters. You had some that left early for the NFL. It was like 39 scholarship players on the roster when they went this. So Brian Kelly had to bring in a staff and still go out and find caliber D1 players that could compete. So I think for the most part, I don't think fans really knew what to expect from them. The first game of the season, they didn't play well, but it's like, okay, that's sluggish. They've been practicing against each other. It still looked probably about a 6-6. After the Tennessee game, it was like, wow, maybe it's going to be so. It wasn't looking good, but those players bought into his. They brought in, and now it's house money they're playing with now. I don't think any of them were expecting it today, and so who knows how it's going to go down. We lost back in 2001 against Tennessee, who was ranked number 2 in the country. They were going to the Rose Bowl. They just had to go through and beat LSU, who they'd already beat, and it didn't really turn out that way. So that's why they play the game.
That's why they play.
Yeah, that's what I allow people compare this matchup to was that 2001 SEC championship game you just brought up, when Tennessee had everything to play for and LSU really didn't, but a Sugar Bowl in Nick Saban's second year. And with backup quarterback, Matt Mark, LSU gets it done and knocks off a very, very talented Tennessee team and then goes to the Sugar Bowl. Saying for LSU is like, okay, we don't have the playoff to play for, but, should a New Year's Six bowl game in Brian Kelly's first year is an outstanding, feat and a lot of momentum going into next season. So if LSU can win today, they'll get into the Sugar Bowl as opposed to a loss, and you're probably looking at a Capital One Bowl or something like that.
But like I said, I think the difference, don't take nothing from Georgia. Kirby Smart, has those guys ready to play.
Yeah.
You know, it's just like what does Saban call it? The rat pool, listening to the hype.
Yeah.
Number one, you know, that's
Exactly.
let them believe
Yeah. And
he was not really.
yeah, man.
And the longer you let teams stick around in the game, you know, anything can happen.
Yeah.
And I think that's going to be a big thing today with Georgia is I'm hoping and I'm thinking that Kirby Smart has heard the same thing all of us are talking, which is Georgia and him in particular has not had very much success with LSU. And he's going to make it a point to not only win this game, but to dominate this game. To dominate. He's going to say, no, we're not going to go in this game with the mindset of just we need to win or we don't care because we got the playoff. He's going to go in with the mindset of I have not beaten LSU as a head coach, and I have, even as a defensive coordinator, I have struggled with LSU when I was at Bama. So we're going to make a statement today, and we're going to get rid of this conversation, and we're going to move forward. I know everybody's throwing out a lot of nice little score predictions, but I don't think the score is going to be close at all. I think Kirby is going to go out there and make a statement today.
I do believe you might be right about that, because all week you've heard about Georgia's defense is going to have a difficult time stopping the quarterback. Same was put out by some coach when they played Tennessee, how Georgia's D-line was average at best. Their secondary was below average. And, I'm sure Kirby used that as fuel for the fire for his defense to send him out there. And he's probably doing the same thing. They don't think you can stop that quarterback. And Georgia has a way of rising up to big games, games like Missouri, Kentucky, even I think it was Kent State. They didn't play that well against them. And they have a habit of these lackadaisical games that they should blow people out, not coming there to play their game. But when they play a competitive game, a team that's very competitive, they usually show up really well to be able to play them. Kirby's going to have them there. He's not looking past LSU at all. I can promise you that. Kirby Smart wants the SEC championship as much as he wants the national title. That was a mark the team looked at last year and said, we lost the SEC championship. That was one of their goals last year, and they've set those goals again to first win the East, second win the SEC championship, third go for a national title. So you don't put any of those far out things before these things that are close up. You always want to hit those 50-meter targets. Right now, this is a 50-meter target, and Georgia's got to come to play in order to really win, because LSU ain't going to give it to them. I can promise you that. Georgia's going to have to come out and try to dominate the game and get LSU down, frustrate them, cause more mistakes. Georgia's been prone this year. One of the things that they talk about between the two defenses last year and this year is Georgia don't have the sack numbers that they had last year. But what they do have is a lot of pressure causing the quarterback to make mistakes, and they get the offense off the field and allow their offense to stay on the field. So I think that'll be a lot if they can contain LSU's quarterback. I know there's word out there he had an injury in that game last week against Texas A&M, but I can tell you that guy's going to come out and give it all his best against Georgia. I don't think anybody's going to sit on the sideline for this one. They're going to give everything. Both sides will. But again, I think Georgia, my prediction score would be 38-14.
Okay.
I'm with you. So my score prediction was 34-14. So I'm along the same line as you. I feel like I tagged the underperforming games this year to the number one team in the nation syndrome. Like, if you ever looked at it in the past when Alabama was at number one, they always had these weird games in September that they lose to some crazy team that they should never lose to, or they struggle against some team that they should never struggle against. LSU did the same thing when they were number one. Georgia doing the same thing now. Ohio State did it. When you're the number one team in the nation, these teams happen to lose. They want to be the one to knock you off. And look what happened with Tennessee when they had all that as the number one team. It's different when you're being hunted versus you're hunting everybody. When Georgia was playing with no pressure last year and they weren't the number one team, they were number 6, number 5, number 4, they was kind of going up. they dominated. They got to play free, got to play with no pressure, no expectations. We shouldn't be here anyway. Fine. The moment we got to that number 1 ranking and we had all that pressure, Alabama, they humbled us. They said, no, you need to understand that we're just as good as you, my friend. And then that national championship game, well, actually the Orange Bowl international championship game, and got back to the basics, which is a solid team defense and just move the ball and score points every single time. And I think that's what's happened. That was happening this year when we started off as number 1. If you look, we were playing as if, well, we're the number 1 team and everyone should be terrified when they walk into the stadium or we walk into their stadium. And it was actually the opposite. Everybody was coming in like, we want to be the one that say we knocked off the number 1 team in the nation. And until they got knocked down to number 3, that if you notice, the moment we got knocked down to the number 3 team in the nation, that's when that defense said, all right, no more, let's do this. And I think that that thing that changed that defense for this season, and I think we're locked in now. I think we're solid and we're locked in now.
Yeah, because that's one thing I noticed from Georgia last season. When we played y'all in SEC championship, I was looking like, this is not the same defense. Like, they don't have the same defense intensity they've been having all year. But when we got back to the national championship, the defense started looking like the defense I had been seeing all that season. And so, yes, like you said, go ahead.
Well, one thing I'll say about that right there, after that game when you guys beat us, I mean, handily, Kirby went back and told the guys, you look tired out on that field. And they went and took it upon themselves to continue to condition themselves to get in better shape, because when they said, when we play Alabama next time, it's going to be a different game. And you can see the intensity the whole game that defense played. Bryce Young hadn't played a defense like that the whole season, and it looked like in the SEC championship, they couldn't get no pressure on him whatsoever. And a lot of people said, well, if they'd had Beachy, if they'd had the other guy, well, there was a difference in the pressure that was put on him the second game than the first game. First game, he had all day to sit back there and find those guys and hit them. The second game, he didn't have the first series, they came after him hard. And that's when they, thought they had the fumble recovery and wound up ruining the incomplete pass. They let him know the first series, it ain't going to be the same game that you had last time. We're going to be on you.
Well, since we talking about the defensive side of the ball, this for LSU. That dude Harold Perkins, that dude is a beast. That dude is something different. What y'all talking about him, man?
He's the college football version of Michael Parsons. Somebody you could line up as an edge rusher, somebody who you could put in the middle of the defense and tell them to spy the quarterback, and not only spy him, but run him down. I mean, I've never seen somebody run down Bryce Young, the way that Harold Perkins ran him down when we played Alabama. And then he has that athleticism that if you throw a ball around him, like when we played against Auburn and they tried that wide receiver pass, he jumped in the lane and he picked it off. So he's a big time player. Now, the only thing with him that I noticed against A&M, A&M ran at him a lot. A&M lined up and they ran at him. They pulled guards and they ran at him a lot. And that kind of neutralized them. He wasn't able to play freely. He wasn't able to run around and use his athleticism to make plays because he had a big guy coming at him all game long. So it's going to be interesting to see how Matt House adjust to because I know Georgia's seen that on film, and I know Georgia loves to run the ball, right down your throat. So it's going to be interesting to see if Matt House could come up with another strategy to try to neutralize Georgia's run game, because I think they're going to rather have Perkins getting ran at as opposed to trying to pass block him.
So
Michael Parsons was perfect.
Go ahead, Mr. Fox.
No, I was going to say Parsons is the perfect comparison because that's exactly how they defend the Cowboys.
Yeah. Mr. Fox.
Yeah, I agree with him is probably the way to neutralize him, and even going with Anderson, I think he's one of those players side to side, that blows it out. But when Georgia had kind of did that against them in the championship game, where you can control. But yeah, hopefully they come up with a plan that he's not being the other guy's got to step up. He's had a phenomenal year. 18 years old and playing at left sideline to sideline, and he pretty much against the Arkansas won that game for them.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm gonna ask this: if he gets neutralized today, who needs to step up for LSU defense?
You got somebody like a Micah Baskerville, who is another athletic linebacker that we have. And the safeties, Fouché and Burns and those guys coming up and being physical in the run game. Because I think that's the thing. LSU has to stand strong against the run. A&M ran for like a chain himself had 200 and something yards rushing against LSU last week. So I think somebody like a Micah Baskerville, and Wingo on the defensive line, the interior, the D tackles, the middle linebackers, and the safety is going to have to be really big in this game, especially the D linemen and the linebackers, because the safeties are going to have to watch out for those two big, gigantic tight ends that Georgia have running down the field. You can't just leave them unattended to. So I say the biggest player today is Baskerville. Going to have to step up against the run game.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's a run game. I think the tight end today. It's the difference of the game today is going to be how well LSU's defense. That's going to be key.
And another things that I've been watching the game all week. I even been like just listening to it. Like one of my things I picked out of this game is LSU on offense. They're gonna have to convert on third downs, because I'm comparing this game to similar to LSU versus Alabama. I think LSU was like 5 and 12 on third down conversions, and 47% out the whole year. That's like 15 in the country. So they're going to have to extend drives and make Georgia commit people to the run game and try to get a big play in the passing game. Try to keep the defense honest some type of way in the pass game. You don't need Jaden Daniels to have a 300-yard, 400-yard pass game. Just can he pop up in some big plays in the pass game, and can they consistently run the ball and convert on third downs? But when you go back to Georgia, go ahead.
I would say I think actually it's the opposite for me when it comes to LSU offense. I think Georgia weak is the DBs. I think that our DBs get very grabby. They like to kind of, if you look at a lot of our games where we struggle early, there's a lot of pass interference, a lot of holdings, a lot of plays where like Keely Ringo, I think he's a DB. But sometimes I look out there and I'm like, what is happening right now? Like, what are you doing? Like, he misses tackles a lot. I think LSU success is going to be open it up, because you're already stressed, and we've said it multiple times that the quarterback can run. Obviously, this is based off of if he's healthy. You open the field up and you force Georgia into a situation where you're like, do you want to have start Monday, Keely, and all those guys one-on-one with these LSU receivers and let the defensive line try to manage that quarterback? Or do you want to keep somebody else that's dedicated to spying the quarterback? And if you already know Kirby's mentality with that, somebody spying a quarterback means I got one man down on my defense. So he tries to avoid spying. Yeah. He will literally go into a zone defense basics versus spying. So I think with LSU game plan, and this is obviously no coaching experience, LSU game plan should be something along the line of open that field up more and force those DBs to try to handle the receivers one-on-one. Say, hey, we're just going to try to beat you guys. Anytime you come out and we're going to run that quarterback, and we're going to force you to switch to a zone. And when you're in the zone, we're going to push your DBs to not be so grabby. And at that first quarter, if those refs they're very, very free with that flag, it's going to be a long day. If they keep that flag in their pocket, that's how Georgia wants to play. Beat you up on the line, be physical, tug on you, grab on you, beat you down as you go up the field. If they don't throw that flag, Georgia's going to dominate this game. But they're not going to run the ball on us, though.
Well, I think what opens that up is if Rudy mentally shows up to play. He thought he was and all that, and he's kind of at times looked like he was playing out there not to get hurt, going all out. The other receivers have stepped up, but they're going to really need a presence out there to look like he's a threat in order to spread.
Yeah, I agree with. Yeah, I agree with that. Butte is a big key in this game. I mean, he came in as a preseason first team All-American, still projected to be a first round pick. And he got a good matchup. I mean, I don't know if Ringo is somebody that they make him travel with the other team's top receiver, or if he kind of just plays on the side. But a Ringo and Butte matchup would be a pretty good matchup. And LSU does have a deep receiving core. That's one thing they do have. Now, Georgia did go up against a really good wide receiving core in Tennessee and pretty much out-physical them. But so LSU going to have to do a good job of getting these receivers open and protecting Jaden Daniels so he could throw the ball to these receivers.
I think you're right, but the success Georgia had against Tennessee depended on them getting pressure on the quarterback, and what helps the DBs out.
Yep.
That D line, if they can't get any pressure, I don't care how good of DBs you got. You're going to find an open receiver if he gets enough time to throw. And the other thing is, how healthy is he? Is he going to be extremely mobile? Because they said he was had his foot in a boot cast. But nobody really knows, and of course, they're not going to tell you anything until the game time starts. And Georgia's going to probably test that to see if he's able to get outside the pocket and run very much by putting some pressure on him to begin with to see how he's going to be able to handle that pressure. So I don't think Georgia's just going to, sit back and, they have a habit of playing 5 D-backs sometimes, especially against a team that can really throw the ball well. And they'll put 2 linebackers in the middle and 4 down linemen on them to put some pressure and send blitzes, sometimes for that nickel back and so forth. So it'll be interesting to see how Georgia defense plays against that offense, and how healthy is the quarterback there. That'll be the question, I think. If he's healthy, he could be problems all day long for Georgia.
Hey, y'all, we got 18 in the chat room.
You have to remember, too, all the games that Georgia...
Hit the like button. 18 in the chat room. Please hit the like button. I'm sorry I can't get to y'all comments right now, but I'm reading them. I'm watching them. Go ahead. Heart of the South. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, too, all the games that Georgia has played against teams that had receivers, we were either at home or in that Oregon game. We was in it was a neutral site, but it was more like a home game for Georgia. So that benefits the defense greatly when you have Tennessee in our stadium at home, and they don't have the same rhythm as they would as if when they play Bama and them at home. The crowd is a lot quiet. They can communicate a lot better on offense. They can change plays at the line. Everybody knows that home field advantage. It matters in college. You know what I'm saying? And so when you come into the line of scrimmage and you're Tennessee and you're playing in Georgia Stadium, and you see something that you can adjust and check the play to beat that defense, but you can't do it because the crowd is so loud, and you just try to get the playoff. So I think that definitely helped us. That a lot of the teams we did play that had great receiving play, we played them at home. So LSU fans travel well like Georgia fans. So this game is not going to be one of those traditional games where Georgia goes to a quote unquote neutral site, but it looks more like a home game for us. It's going to be a neutral site. LSU fans travel. They believe in their Tigers. They're going to travel. And so, I think it's going to be interesting.
I was at the airport yesterday, and there were plenty of LSU fans there getting their luggage, getting rowdy, loud.
I heard that Jules trying. Go ahead.
Georgia, go ahead.
I was just about to say I heard Jules trying to go to the game at one point.
I was tempted, but I decided to just stay here and watch. Easier to see taste around the living room.
Gotcha. Go ahead, though. You were about to say something, right?
Yeah, I think the thing with Georgia was everybody's critiquing every single thing they do. And, it's easy to compare to last year's game against Oregon when they blew them out. And I think people just expected that to be like that. And I don't think they're designed to be like that. I think I was talking to a neighbor who's in play, is they just beat you for the 3 quarters. It's not really they're not really explosive to open it up and go for big plays. Control the clock, and the defense just, and at the end of the game, it's like, 42-16, but it was like, that was kind of a game. It's just how they play. There's nothing negative about that. It's shock. They control the game. They control all the outcomes of it. Defensive stats, their head threw for 250 yards and 2 or 3 touchdowns. And they just they blew them away. So, you're going to have games like that. I mean, like you guys talked about, like, oh man, they look beatable. No, they kind of were just. It's for 12 games. It just doesn't happen. I don't care how much the coach rah-rahs them and tells them how good the other players know what games they got to get up for.
Yeah.
So
you look at a lot of our games, like by the time you get to halftime.
Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, by the time we get to halftime, you're kind of looking at the score like, why the hell is the score 7-3? By the time the game ends, you're like, oh, Georgia won 34-3. Like, what happened? Like, it was 7-3 at halftime. I looked at the end of the game and they won 42-10. So.
And see, that's what I was saying last week. Somebody had made a comment about the halftime score with Georgia Tech. I said, yeah, but I'm telling you, they ain't scoring on their offense like that, though. I said, I don't care what you see the score is. Georgia offense ain't finna give up that many points. I mean, defense ain't about to give up that many points. So that ain't really saying nothing to me.
Right. Their offense doesn't really have big plays explosive to the field, and their defense doesn't give it up like that. And I think a lot of the media, the teams are like the 2019 LSU team, and they had first round picks, throughout for their wide receivers that they had. They were a very, very explosive team, whereas I think number 1 team they're supposed to be like that. LSU is supposedly explosive, and I don't think they can play with Georgia. That's.
I know.
With that, and even with that 19 team, you had a game like when for example, we played Northwestern. We was down early in that game, to Northwestern.
Yeah.
And then the score ended up getting ugly towards the end. But like y'all said, in the course of a 12-game season, when you play against, you got your games where, like with Georgia, you playing Tennessee, you're playing Florida, your big rivals. And then you got the games with the Georgia Techs and the Kent States and all that, the Missouris. These are college kids. Like, it's human nature is you're not going to be as fired up, to play certain games like you are for other games. But at the end of the day, did you win the ball game is what matters. And at this point, Georgia is unblemished.
Yeah. So what are some of the key matchups y'all want to see today? Mr. Barfield, I'm going to start with you.
Defensive tackle.
All right, I think the key matchup is going to be Georgia's defense against that quarterback there. Again, question marks. How healthy is he? Is he going to be able to run? If you watched the game last night between USC and Utah, USC's quarterback got hurt. It affected the way he could throw the ball. He couldn't move around as much, and it had a huge effect on how he was able to play the game. He couldn't play his game because he couldn't the mobility wasn't there last night, and it affected him being able to even throw the ball. He had so many balls that were either underthrown or overthrown, and I think the key matchup is going to be with Georgia's defense and Georgia's offense. LSU's known to have some really good D-backs. Their D-back how they're going to match up against their D-backs, and are they going to be able to get any pressure on Stetson? Stetson's been probably one of the least sacked quarterbacks this year, but I don't know if he's really faced a defense that was good enough to really put a lot of pressure on him. And LSU always has a good defense. And it should be a challenge for Georgia's offensive line to see if they can effectively block this strong defense that LSU has. They got some really good linebackers. Perkins, I mean, that kid's going to be awesome. He's only a freshman. Think about what that guy's going to be like as a junior. He's going to be a beast. He's only going to get better. That's the only, the thing about it. And so it should be an interesting matchup between Georgia's defense against, LSU's offense, and vice versa, how Georgia's offensive line is going to be able to handle LSU, because I know they're going to start sending some blitzes after Stetson. They're not going to let him sit back there and throw the ball. So I look forward to seeing that.
And what you just said, that is what LSU going to have to do, because we know Stetson, he's liable to make some mistakes. We've seen him make some mistakes this season.
Yes.
And LSU is going to have to capitalize on it to be in this game. If you make a mistake, they're going to have to capitalize on the mistakes.
Yep.
So, Heart of the South, what you got to say about it? Your key matchups.
Honestly, to me, it comes down to both defensive line. Like, it's going to be that simple. Does the defensive line step up and play like they're supposed to play, and we dominate with 4 down linemen and not have to send those crazy blitzes? Because if you look at a lot of games that we struggled, there were the games that we did not have Jalen, and we had to send these crazy blitzes to try to get pressure. Like, he's the key. Jalen Carter is the key. If we can run with our 4 and make that pocket and make backfield with just our 4, the game's going to be bad. Once we start sending all these crazy exotic blitzes because we cannot get back there, I think LSU has a chance. And then the opposite side of that is LSU defensive line. If they manage to maintain Georgia's rushing attack with their base defensive line, they got a shot. Once they start getting to the point, and I know you said they're going to stand pressure for Stetson, that's where you mess up. But Stetson, they're gonna run the ball because that's what Georgia does. We're RBU. We're gonna run the ball. Once they start standing that pressure, that's when Stetson's gonna hit him with one of those naked bootlegs or those bootlegs, and he's going deep to either Brock, or he's going deep to Lad. He's gonna hit one of the guys. That's where all of our big plays come from. Typically, we don't traditionally have the deep plays by just dropping back. Our deep plays always come off of those bootlegs or those play action plays. So I think LSU is going to be in trouble if they cannot maintain control of that defensive and offensive line. That's the key to me, is both defensive lines.
Mr. Lugar, how about you? What's your key matchups?
For me, it comes down to Jaden Daniels' health. Because how can LSU stay in third and manageable? One thing we have struggled with all year is our offensive line. It's a talented offensive line, but very, very young. I mean, we're starting 2 true freshmen, both bookend tackles. And in that Georgia Dome, on that turf against those defensive players, it's going to be tough for LSU to block them, on 3rd and 8 and 3rd and 9. So is Jaden Daniels healthy enough to, whenever the pocket does, break down, can he get out there and scramble like he did against Alabama, like he did against Ole Miss, at Mississippi State, and some of those other big victories we had this year? So for me, it comes down to is Jaden Daniels healthy enough to have the escapability that he's had all year?
Yeah, okay. Mr. Fox? Can't hear you.
There we go. Hey, I was just saying the same thing. The O-line, young, a big game today to keep it, the third and manageables, where it's still a 2-dimensional game, not 1-dimensional. And also, I think it's, LSU has started off slow a lot during the season, and starting slow offensively and falling behind by 2 scores is, so I think it is the offense.
Okay. Hey, one of my key points is too, can LSU get Georgia and like 2nd and 15s or 2nd and 10s or 3rd and 15s? Can they get Georgia behind in the because I think that'll help contain that run game what Georgia is going to come at LSU with. If they can get them behind on chains, that'll help LSU out so much. Y'all got any thoughts on that?
Absolutely. That goes along with those third. You can't let Bennett beat you with his legs, because he can scramble in that. So just because it gets 3rd and long, you still got to spy that guy and keep him in the pocket for the ball, instead of using his legs and be two dimensions.
I agree with you. If you keep Stetson, contained and don't let him get outside, because he's beat teams with his legs and picked up critical first downs, keep drives going, keep you on that field, keep wearing the defense down. That'll definitely be a challenge for LSU's defense to keep him contained and make him stay in the pocket rather than let him get outside and run a little bit.
Yeah, I agree. It's definitely a big factor in this game, because one of the things that got Georgia going against Tennessee was on that 3rd down and goal when Bennett got away from a free rusher and then was able to put like a juke move on another guy and score. And Georgia was off and running after that, as opposed to if Tennessee, gets that sack and brings them down right there. I mean, maybe the outcome wouldn't have changed, but maybe the game would have been more competitive for a little longer.
Yeah. It's the same we played Mississippi State. I want to say Mississippi State. When he juked the defender to get in the end zone. A lot of people don't realize that game was kind of going back and forth. We were going back and forth, and we didn't really separate until he kind of took that play in. And then it almost like when he does plays like that, it kind of gets offense and the team kind of like going. It's almost like Stetson
gets enough credit for being a solid like he should.
Much better. Man, athleticism that people give him credit for.
You love the mailman in this house. He delivers, baby.
Hey, this is what I want to ask you. A lot of people after the national championship still they want Stetson in Athens. What was up with that?
Well, I think some people seen what was behind Stetson Bennett, and they felt like, the Georgia defense really was the one who or won the national title. That was the main brunt. But, Stetson went out there time and time again and beat out a 5-star quarterback. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
JT Daniels, he beat him out. When he came back from injury, JT Daniels could not beat him out to get back on that field. And the year before, there were several other 4- and 5-star kids there that couldn't beat him out to be a star.
Yep.
So I just think the guy's a gamer. He's gonna try to compete. He's got a heart, and he plays with his whole heart for his team. He's gonna give everything he's got. He's not gonna quit. And that's hard to beat when you got a guy out there that's going to give you everything he's got every time he steps on the field. He doesn't cut corners. He tries his best. Sometimes trying his best, he'll make a mistake. He does, and that every quarterback does. They're going to make a mistake trying to make a play for their team. And sometimes you just have to hope it doesn't cost your team a big score or something, Yeah,
but I think his teammates really respect him, and everybody plays hard. His work ethic is contagious, and I think that keeps it that people overlook.
Absolutely.
I agree.
And
I
not to
think the
mention,
problem.
he's an older.
I think the problem.
He's an older guy too, so he has a lot of maturity. You know, and leading plus a bunch of kids that are not kids, but young men that are between 18 to 21-year-olds.
Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I heard he had a grandson.
I think a lot of the reason why a lot of people want him out. I know a lot of people want him out because I think we are just so used to seeing those big names that leads teams. So if you look at all the teams that either been in a national game or have won a national championship in the recent years, it's always that big name. It's you got even in Clemson right now, they are refusing to bench DJ. How you say that?
Yeah,
How you say his name? Because he's the guy.
He
He
is
got
not
the
it.
name.
He is not
He got
it.
the name. Yeah, and they refuse, and so it's a lot easier for fans to accept a huge, losing a game versus a guy you're like, why is he even on the team? Like he was not recruited big. He was not the number one quarterback in the nation that was brought into Detroit. Why are we not, putting another guy in? Because if he can do that good, then shouldn't our 5-star make us even better? Like that's the logic a lot of people try to wrap their head around.
Yeah.
But sometimes they don't realize is what we always say in sports: style make fights. And it just creates a fight every week, no matter the team we play. His style of play, he plays like that one kid we've always played with, which is I don't do day, I'm done. So I'm ball out. I got to give it everything I got. Because I got nothing to lose and everything. Right? If I lose everything. If I win, I'm still gonna be questioned next week. Like that's how he plays, and I think that's the edge that he our team, because he gives our team that mindset of like, look, man, you're the 5-star, defensive end, you're the 5-star receiver, you're the 5-star tight end. Even if you suck this week, you're playing next week. If I suck this week, I'm done. So let's go out the ball, and I think he relaxes them with that mindset of let's just go play.
Well,
Go ahead.
I'll give you a prime example. In the Rose Bowl in 2018, Stetson Bennett was the quarterback that played against Georgia's defense to prepare them for the Rose Bowl. And the defensive players like Roquan Smith said that he was harder to play against than Baker Mayfield was. And they said that him playing against them in practice really helped prepare them for Baker Mayfield. Said they were better prepared for Baker Mayfield than they were for Stetson Bennett. He was just so hard to get down and so hard to get on the ground, But I don't think he gets enough credit for what he's done at Georgia. I mean, as a starter, this kid is just miraculously, no Georgia starter has the record he has. I'll say that.
My thing on the mailman, like how what I thought about it, I thought it was crazy when I was hearing fans say that, because I go back to Alabama. I go back to them. We just shoot up on the fancy 5-star name. We didn't build. We always had a quarterback, and he played with athletes, and that was Stetson Bennett put me in the mindset of he's good at what he is to start. He got athletes around him to do what he needs to do and get the job done. So when I was hearing Georgia fans after the national championship saying, "Oh, we want whoever the backup quarterback is now, we want them, we want to see him." Yeah, I'm like, y'all
Brock Vander.
Yeah, I believe Rob Brunninger is about to transfer too, I think.
Yeah, but I think it is a different scenario though. I think it's different than what Alabama did versus Georgia. Alabama, they had talent, like legit 5-star talent. Georgia was still in the RBU ball mindset, where we even now today we do a ton of 5-star wide receivers. We got a bunch of 3, maybe 1 or 2 4-stars here and there that we're make play like 5s, but we don't have Alabama. You look at their roster, you look at receiver, it's 5, a couple 4s, and a transfer for 5-star. They're all athletes that you just throw them a bubble.
People get caught
80 yards.
People get caught up in those stars. You go back to Justin Jefferson wasn't even a 3-star coming into there. Guy that was just local that got brought in there. Those guys come and they get, it's just say are getting better or you're getting worse. Nobody's staying the same. So I think what happens is a lot of how many stars the guy's got by his name, and they think it's just going to come in and just carry over. Those ones that didn't get the recognition prior to getting to college, they got something to prove every single day.
Yeah.
And speaking of LSU, you got a guy like a Cardell Thomas who came in as the #1 offensive lineman in high school football, and he still can't, get on the field. So, it goes both ways.
Well,
I'm glad you brought him up
got
because I
LSU's
wanted to ask you about him.
19 coming in as
yeah,
the #1 in the country. Struggled. I mean, he's playing good now, but he struggled.
Mm-hmm.
He never lived up to the hype.
And like you were saying, harder South. Like when Alabama first got the shit. I'm talking about with Nick Saban. Now, when you look at the roster, it's 5 stars, and we had 5-star potential, but a lot of them kids were 4 stars coming out. And we started off with John Parker Wilson, and I think that was his final season at Alabama 2008, and that he got us to the SEC championship. We lost to Florida, but that's when it started rolling. Like,
but look at that.
Go ahead.
Blake Sims did
team,
too.
though.
Yeah,
but look at that team. That team was built like Georgia is, which is everybody on that defense was drafted in the first 2 rounds. He was literally a mirror image of last year's Georgia team. And with everybody on that defense, you would kill to have them on your team right now in the NFL. And that offense, we're going to run the ball 30 times a game down your throat. We just need our quarterback mess the game. Because that was what Kirby Smart came. He was that defensive coordinator that was operating that team. And so yes, the other side of the ball, the offense, the quarterbacks and the receivers, they weren't, you got your Judy and your Smith and, yes, they weren't those guys. They were basically, like I said, literally Georgia right now, which half the people who, if you're not a Georgia fan, you probably can't even name one of our wide receivers. You're probably naming 2 tight ends before you name one of our wide receivers, because our offense is not known for that. You probably can name 2 of our running 2 tight ends before you can give me one of our wide receivers' names. That's because we're built almost a mirror image of the Alabama team, which is we just need the offense to not lose the game. Defense is going to hold them under X amount of points, and we're going to move the ball enough that every time we get the ball, we should at a minimum get a field goal. But every time they get a ball, we're going to hold them to a field goal or no points. And so I think with their offense, they attempted to open it up to be more explosive. But then once they saw that was turning, giving the ball too quick, they kind of went back to the old way, which is manage this game correctly, but great defense, and then we're going to win the game.
Yeah. So, real quick, time winding down. Starting with you, Heart of the South. What's your score? I don't know you gave it, but again, what's your score prediction for today?
Mine is, I'll go with 32-10 today. 32-10.
Ooh, it changed. All right, Mr. Dugas, what's your score prediction?
I'm gonna be unbiased here. It's a part of me that really believes LSU could win this game. We've played well coming off of losses this year. After the Florida State game, so I know it's Southern. All respect, shout out to the Jags. LSU jumped on them quick, and then after Tennessee, they had their best offensive game against Florida. So I think they'll play well, but I just think Georgia is a little bit too much right now. But I'm gonna go with more of a low-scoring defensive game. I got Georgia 24 to 17.
Okay, Mr. Barfield, how about you?
I'm gonna stick with mine, 38-14.
38-14. Mr. Fox, how about you?
Yeah, this is a tough one. And not to be the homer, but I think the game stays in the game for the 4 quarters, and I think it comes down to 21. It's probably going to be the final with Georgia winning.
Yeah, because what I will say, my opinion, what LSU has to do, they have to do it in the first half. It has to happen in the first half because Georgia is the second half too. Georgia, they only been giving up like 7 points in the second half, scoring like 17 in the second half. So what LSU needs to do this game, it has to happen in the first half to keep it close. Then that might change the trajectory of things from then on. But it has to happen for LSU in the first half of the game because if they come up down, going into the half, 14-0, 21, whatever, 14-7, 21-7, whatever it may be, Georgia is going to turn. Y'all know for second half game, but Georgia, that statistically they are lights in the second half, man. But my score prediction,
LSU can't fall behind. Stay in it.
Yeah.
No.
But my score prediction, I actually have 42-24. That's my score prediction. 42-24.
Right.
I feel LSU they're gonna be hyped. Like I said, they don't have the pressure of we have to win this game to get into the playoffs. So I feel like they can come in more freely, play freely, have fun, and try to win the SEC championship. But I gotta give props to Brian Kelly. What he done in his first year is awesome, very impressive. I didn't think that was gonna happen. A lot of people look back at the LSU and Florida State game, the first game of the season is. I looked at it different. I'm like, LSU just maybe a one catch from Boutte from changing that game because I remember in that game, Keyshawn Boutte, it was like a Jaden Daniels had hit him threw it right in the numbers. I don't know if he didn't see it, what it was, but I feel like if he would have caught that one pass, that would have changed that whole game to me. And what I had said about Georgia all season, before the season, I picked them to go undefeated. I thought they would have lost in the SEC championship at Alabama, but it turns out that we're not there. So, but everything, yeah, Georgia playing lights out. Overall, I got Georgia winning. I got Georgia winning all, honestly, unless we sneak back in the playoffs. I'm biased again for that moment, but but yeah, man, I think Georgia gonna win.
Yeah, I think Georgia Michigan would be a good championship game.
Yeah. I think as of right now, what we see the playoff picture, what we see the playoff picture right now, that will be the best game, Georgia and Michigan. And so let's fast forward. Say all this happens, Georgia and Michigan. Who do y'all got?
Dogs.
I got Georgia.
Yeah. Would it be a close game? Do y'all think it'll be a close game though?
It'll be closer than last year. Michigan does have that experience of facing them last year, facing that type of speed and athleticism last year. So I think that would help them, this season being a little more prepared for that type of matchup. But athlete for athlete, unless Georgia comes out and just start turning over the ball and having uncharacteristic penalties or something like that, they still would win this game. I still by at least 10 points.
Okay.
I agree.
Heart of the South, what about you? It's still. Okay. But I appreciate y'all for coming on, Mr. Fox, Ms. Barfield. I know I told y'all only about 5 or 10 minutes. I'm glad y'all was able to stick around. Appreciate it.
No problem. It's been fun.
Yeah. And all y'all, I plan on working with y'all back in the future, like getting some stuff done with y'all in the future. Appreciate y'all for coming on. This been a good show. Like we had at one point we had 20 people in the comments, and for my comment section, that's like the highs of being 20 at one time. You usually get the views afterwards, but at 20 at one time, that was pretty good. I think y'all helped me out with that. Appreciate y'all, and
no problem.
All right, gotta go Tigers.
Go
Dogs. Nice being on with you, brothers.
All right, appreciate y'all. Y'all have a good evening.
You too. Bye-bye.
You too.
Everybody in the chat, make sure y'all hit the like button. Please. Thank y'all. Sorry for not reading the comments this show. My bad. I'm sorry. But we were having good dialogue going on. Thank y'all for tuning in. Another episode of the Special Team Podcast. Y'all go enjoy y'all Saturday. Go to football. Go Dogs, go Tiger, and roll Tide.
Bye.
Want to do